time is 8:45. Here's the news, edited by J. Yogaraj. Read by Victor Raj. Here are the headlines of the local news. The government plans to commence the schools with less than 200 students in stages. A policy will be devised to ensure gender balance in the country. Thousands Sri Lankan youths get job opportunities in Japan. The JVP says if there was an involvement of previous Japan regime for creating a pharmaceutical mafia, then it should be probed without delay. Sri Lanka confirms another 132 coronavirus deaths. Sputnik V's second doses arriving on Monday, administered in Kandy district. In overseas news, North and South Korea test ballistic missiles hours apart. In sports news, Kylian Mbappe, PSG expect a striker to stay. Local news in detail. The report of technical committee appointed to analyze the possibility of recommencing schools will be submitted to the President and the COVID-19 Prevention Presidential Task Force this Friday. Specialist Dr. Anuruddha Padania says the report will contain expert comments and recommendations with regard to the opening of schools. The schools are expected to commence in 3 stages. At the first stage, the schools with less than 200 students will be considered for reopening in near future, he added. He said more than 99% of the Kandy district population over the age of 20 will remain fully vaccinated following the completion of the administration of these Sputnik V second doses. Sri Lanka has fully vaccinated half of its population as of now, the minister added, speaking further on the national inoculation drive. Minister Rambukwella's remark came after a meeting held at the Health Ministry earlier today, September 15th. A national policy will be devised to ensure gender balance in the country. Parliament, a select committee, has focused its attention in this regard. This will ensure substantial women representation in employment, education, politics, and other related fields in the country. The public views will also be sought in this regard. The JVP says if there was an involvement of previous Japan regime for creating a pharmaceutical mafia, that it should be probed without delay. It is the responsibility of the present government to commence a comprehensive investigation in this regard. JVP parliamentarian Sunil Handinath stated that the present government also should take legal action against the central bank bond scam which occurred during the time of the previous Japan regime. The government should also take action against all fraud and corruptions of the previous government. This news comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. Continuing with more local news, the Director General of Health Services has confirmed another 132 COVID-19 related deaths for September 14th, increasing the death toll in the country due to the virus to 11,699. According to the figures released by the Government Information Department, the deaths reported today include 66 males and 66 females. Three of the victims, including 2 females, are below the age of 30 years, while 28 are aged between 30 to 59. 101 of the deaths reported are persons aged 60 and above. A shipment of 120,000 second doses of Sputnik V COVID-19 vaccine is scheduled to arrive in Sri Lanka on Monday, September 20th, says Minister of Health Keheli Rambukwella. According to the minister, this batch of Russia-made jabs are expected to be administered to people in Kandy district. Following the rolling out of the vaccine consignment, all Sputnik V vaccine recipients in the country will be fully vaccinated against novel coronavirus. Earlier, a total of 150,000 Sputnik V first doses had been administered in the Kandy district, and senior citizens above the age of 60 years in the region received 30,000 second doses of the same vaccine that Sri Lanka received on 2 occasions. The health minister is hopeful that the rolling out of the new batch of Sputnik V vaccines would be concluded by the end of next week. He said more than 99% of the Kandy district population over the age of 20 will remain fully vaccinated following the completion of the administration of these Sputnik V second doses. Sri Lanka has fully vaccinated half of its population as of now, the minister added, speaking further on the national inoculation drive. Minister Rambukkala's remarks came after a meeting held at the Health Ministry earlier today, September 15th. That came to you on local news.
A mother knows the pain of each member of the family. Siddhalepa, the trusted relief for aches and pains.
An effective therapy for relief from cold, sneezing, flu, headaches, swelling due to toothaches, rheumatic, discomforts, and muscular aches and pains. Siddhalepa, the Vidamahatmya in every home.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Vidamahatmya.
Thousands Sri Lankan youths will be provided with the job opportunities in Japan. Sri Lankan ambassador to Japan, Sanjit Gunasekara, said that the jobs will be provided in the agriculture sector. An MOU in this regard will be signed within 2 weeks. That ends main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Vidamahatmya. Brush your teeth twice a day for healthy teeth and gums. Supiriviki and Kakulu, your trusted brands in oral care for many years.
Supiriviki Ayurvedic toothpaste for adults. Kakulu Ayurvedic toothpaste for kids. 9 Ayurvedic ingredients of Supiriviki will protect your teeth and strengthen your gums. Supiriviki and Kakulu, products from Siddhalepa.
And now in Watch Light.
A special gazette notification has been issued recently, setting a maximum retail price of 3,000 rupees per oximeter. In recent days, some pharmacies have been selling oximeters at exorbitant prices, and there have been reports that some stores are selling substandard oximeters. Minister Rambukkala stated that the steps will be taken in the future to provide a proper standard and set a maximum price for more such medical and health equipment. That ends Watchlight.
World News.
World News headlines first. North and South Korea test ballistic missiles hours apart. Later, McKee, 4 men arrested in connection with a journalist's death. Hong Kong activists jailed for joining banned Tiananmen Vigil. World News in detail. North and South Korea have tested ballistic missiles hours apart from each other, highlighting an arms race on the peninsula as nuclear talks with the North remain stalled. The North fired 2 ballistic missiles across its east coast, its first test with such missiles in 6 months and a fresh breach of UN resolutions. The tests came as South Korea and China discussed the North's nuclear issues. Hours later, the South tested its first submarine-launched ballistic missile. Detectives investigating the death of journalist Lara McKee in Londonderry have arrested 4 men. The men aged 19, 20, 21 and 33 were all arrested on Wednesday under the Terrorism Act, police have said. Ms. McKee, 29, was shot while observing rioting in Derry's Creggan State in April 2019. 9 Hong Kong pro-democracy activists have been sentenced to between 6 and 10 months in prison for taking part in the banned vigil last year commemorating the 1989 Tiananmen Square massacre. They were among 12 people who pleaded guilty to participating in the event. 3 were given suspended sentences. Officials banned the 4th June vigil for the victims of China's deadly crackdown on protesters, citing COVID measures. Critics believe the decision was a part of the push to silence the opposition. To wrap up the world news, let's take a look at the headlines once again. North and South Korea test ballistic missiles hours apart. Lyra McKee, 4 men arrested in connection with the journalist's death. Hong Kong activists jailed for joining banned Tiananmen vigil. That ends world news. Moving on to development news. 700 computers with 21 million rupees have been provided to children care centers. The internet facilities are also provided. These facilities are provided with the support of the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports. That ends development news.
Sports news.
Paris Saint-Germain sporting director Leonardo does not expect Kylian Mbappé to leave at the end of the season and is confident the France forward will sign a new contract. Mbappé, who is out of contract in June 2022, is free to sign a pre-contract agreement with another club in January. He was the subject of the £137 million bid from Real Madrid during the transfer window. That ends sports news.
A safe, easy and versatile app for all your banking needs. NSB Pay for monetary transactions, bill payments, reloads, credit card payments and Lanka QR transactions. A range of facilities with multiple account registrations. Access to your bank needs wherever you are. Download the NSB Pay app from the Play Store or the App Store for free now. For more information, call your nearest NSB branch or 0112 379 379. Conditions apply.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Standard Chartered affirmed its position as one of the largest trade finance counterparties of the Asian Development Bank, ADB, winning the most responsive bank against COVID-19 award at the Trade and Supply Chain Finance Program Awards 2021. The bank won the award for its partnership with the ADB to finance the import of 15.4 million vaccine doses to effectively face the pandemic situation in Sri Lanka. That ends Business News.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
A safe, easy and versatile app for all your banking needs. NSB Pay for monetary transactions, bill payments, reloads, credit card payments and Lanka QR transactions. A range of facilities with multiple account registrations. Access to your bank needs wherever you are.
Moving on to economic news, a memorandum of understanding was signed between KCI Metrolink Korea Company Limited and the GBK Consortium Limited of the Republic of Korea to conduct a feasibility study in order to construct an LRT line from Negombo to Colombo via Bandar Naik International Airport of Colombo, as well as a mixed development project. That ends economic news.
Weather report.
The Met Department says showers or thundershows will occur at times in Sabaragamu and central provinces. Several spells of showers will occur in western and northwestern provinces and in Galle and Mathura districts. Showers or thunder showers may occur at a few places in the Ubud province and in Batticaloa and Ampara districts, particularly in the evening or night. This weather report was published this evening at 7:30 p.m. Further details could be obtained by visiting the official website of the department. Meanwhile, the international weather forecast website AccuWeather.com reports that the day's weather was observed to be bright with occasional showers. Today's daytime temperature would be around 28 Celsius. There will be light showers in many places in Colombo district in the night. Tonight's temperature will be around 27 Celsius and there will be scattered showers in selected spots late in the night. The ground temperature would be 27 Celsius at the time of this news broadcast. The air quality index, AQI, is 16, which show fair condition in Colombo. The air quality is generally acceptable for most individuals. That ends weather report. To wrap up this night news bulletin on Radio Sri Lanka, let's take a look at the headlines once again. The government plans to commence the schools with less than 200 students in stages. A policy will be devised to ensure gender balance in the country. Thousands Sri Lankan youths get job opportunities in Japan. The JVP says if there was an involvement of previous Japan regime for creating a pharmaceutical mafia, then it should be probed without delay. Sri Lanka confirms another 132 coronavirus deaths. Sputnik V second doses arriving on Monday administered in Kandy district. News overseas, North and South Korea test ballistic missiles hours apart. In sports, Kylian Mbappe, PSG expect a striker to stay. With that, we wrap up the night news on Radio Sri Lanka.